Hello and welcome to the regular meeting of the Geneva 304 School Board for Monday, September 22nd, 2025. Bonnie, could you call the roll?
Here.
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 Stephanie will lead us in the pledge. The flag is right back there. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you wish to register your attendance, there is an attendance sheet on the table in the hallway. Item 2, the approval of minutes. We have the regular session and the executive session for September 8th. Did you receive any corrections, Bonnie? Are there any at this time? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
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 Abstain.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item 3, recognition awards, presentations, and public hearings. We have first, what makes our school special, from the Geneva High School staff and students. I see some in the corner.
Yeah, we have Mr. Showalter here from the woodworking lab with two students, Ben and Sebastian, right? All right, so Mrs. Sims, I think, had some more wonderful superlatives to share while they get up and I get my computer connected for them.
Right. Yes, I'd like to thank the gentleman here tonight representing the Woods program at Geneva High School. Mr. Showalter, along with Mr. Christopher, keep that classroom running all but 30 minutes of the day. There's actually been such a boom in registration and interest in the courses that there is not only a very small wait list, but we have a larger number of students that we would like that unfortunately have to choose an alternative elective because we cannot get all the students in who are interested. I would like to credit Mr. Showalter with his vision for the program and how he's expanded it in the last few years since he's taken that on as his primary responsibility. He's taken a program that had student interest and really, risen that to the next level. He's really applied some real-world applications to the projects that the students are doing. He's absolutely, for those students for whom they see this as a potential career path, he's opened doors for them to be able to do that and to gain some real-world skills and knowledge. So, and to the two young men that are here tonight to share, I would really like to recognize their ingenuity in taking kind of a packaged set of plans and making it better and making it better able to suit the needs of the apparatus as well as the future uses. And it's those creative thinking skills and that application of knowledge that will take them far in the future. And again, is so critical for this kind of work to prepare our students for life outside of the classroom.
And I think I would just add real quick, we talk about our strategic plan and the career pathways, trying to set kids up on a wide variety of different paths, and this is a great example of some of that work, and the fact that this program is growing, I really think is a great example. So we're excited to hear from you.
Thank you for the introduction. I'm Rob Showalter. Thanks for inviting us here. So I took over the program about 4 years ago at Geneva High School, and over those years, all of the administration kind of across the board at the school district has supported most of what we've wanted to do in there. So first and foremost, I wanted to say thank you to all the administration, from my department chair, Eric Hetzel, to our principals at the high school, Mr. Rogers, to the folks at central office, Brian Pedersen, across the board, the school board, Mr. Latham, Mrs. Sims, thank you so much for the support that you've given us over the past couple of years. The changes that have been made in this space really are largely because of the trust and of course the financial backing that you've given us in the program there at the high school. So thank you very much. So a couple of years ago, I was having a conversation with Miss Sims right when I started in the woodworking program, and her first question to me, and I think it's hilarious, was, "So are you building the same old table?" And I prefer to well, no, that's the quote of what you said to me, which is great because it was incredibly challenging to me personally, because I prefer, when changes are ready to be made, I prefer to just try to make those changes as quickly as possible and to integrate them into the class. And after she made the comment, really it pushed me past my reluctance to make the change that we needed to make. So we can go all the way back to probably the mid-90s when I was in high school at Geneva High School, and we made the table that's sitting in the center of the illustration that I made. That was the table that we made in the mid-1990s when I was in high school at Geneva High School. And Mrs. Sims made the comment, and I had always thought that like that might not fit the family's houses, right? And so I want families to be able to bring the table home, welcome it into their house, and enjoy it instead of bringing a table that doesn't match the style of their home and not enjoy it, but have it because their kid made it and they were proud of their kid. And so what we did was we changed the leg style on the table, and what that did was it gave obviously the kids an opportunity to make a choice on what they were building, kind of elevated their interest in completing the project independently, but not only that, but gave a chance for them to dialogue with their folks at home through the process as well, kind of bringing them into the school. A lot of the changes that we've done too in the space is we did a whole lot of reorganization in the workshop. Now, we didn't really buy new equipment. We didn't really do anything that. We just changed the way it was organized in such a way to allow for the project to get completed faster, right? Not only that, but we implemented a bunch of like station style learning where students are moving with different groups through stations so that it gives them an opportunity to work independently on their own while I or our other woodworking teacher, Mr. Christopher, is working with them on a piece of equipment that they're still trying to figure out how to use. And between the efficiency in the workshop, the reorganization, between the ability for the kids to make their own choice on the table, it's taken the old build time of the old table where everybody did the same thing from about 18 weeks, almost the whole semester, to about 9 we're looking at right now. And Mr. Christopher, now that he's working with me, actually implemented a couple of more things that we're doing, and I think we might even get it to 8 weeks. And while that's an incredible thing to do in a work environment, it can be challenging in a school environment because, well, we still have 10 weeks or 9 weeks of space in the timeline. And so what are we going to do with kids for the remaining of the time? And so we started thinking a little bit more creatively, and we implemented 3 new programs into the woodworking curriculum that didn't exist before the last couple of years. Those 3 programs are, one of them is kind of a rebrand and a rework of something that existed, and then we had 2 totally new ones. The rebrand was a partnership that we do with our entrepreneurship class at the high school, where Mrs. Dunlap's class, they design and sell products, and us as the woodworking group implements and makes those products. It's kind of a manufacturing unit in that regard. And we were able to escalate or increase the amount of products we are able to offer in that program. We're able to sell more because of the efficiency. We're also able to make more complicated items and send out. Previously, what typically happened was the kids fulfilled the orders, they made them. We also were able to implement the students doing the design side, like how to actually build it in the workshop. So like you get a concept from the sales side of the business, you get a concept from the folks that are gonna end up selling and doing that sort of things. But we have to really interpret it to see what it means and how it's created in the workshop itself, and the students get a chance to do that. One of the other things that we've changed to fill up that extra time in the workshop is we have created a new program called Geneva High School Furniture Fix and Custom Builds. And I'm going to bring up my two students, Ben and Sebastian, to start talking about that and the third one in just a second. So if you wouldn't mind coming on up and start talking through that.
Hi, so my name is Ben. I'm currently in Woods 3, so I've gone through 3 total semesters of woodworking, on my 3rd now, and I personally have really enjoyed this program through and through. Me and Sebastian, we work a little bit faster than most students for all of our stuff because we're in the robotics team and we have prior knowledge for all of the machines that are in there, and Show just helped elevate our knowledge on all of them. And so when we're done with that, now we work on the furniture fix, or now Show's been teaching us how to use the CNC at this point. One of my favorite things that I've worked on for the furniture fix was a project for one of the social studies teachers who I believe has retired now, where we made a coffee table with 2 drawers with linear bearings that slides the drawers in and out, and that was a fun challenge for us to work on that I really enjoyed.
Nervous. Alright, my name's Sebastian. I've also been in the Woods program for 3 semesters now. Like Ben said, we work a bit faster than everyone else, so we get to do other fun things, such as furniture fix, which I actually do enjoy working on a lot. One of my favorite things that I worked on would be one of the shelves in the high school's main office. We had to make a taper for the top of it, so we had to use a coping jig, which neither me, Ben, or Showalter knew how to use. So we all had to learn how to use that. So that was a fun experience.
So this year, thanks to all of your guys' investments and everything that you've done for us, we've been allowed to acquire a large-scale CNC machine, much larger than the hobbyist machine that Showalter had originally. Which it lets us do so many more things now compared to the smaller hobbyist one, which showed, you remember how large that one, the small hobbyist one was? 2x2, and the new one is how long? Yeah, so we have massively increased the size of things that we can do on it, and because of that, we've also been able to make that funky little table over there, and all of the things on it. So I'm gonna let Show walk around and show that to you guys. So with the CNC, we're able to create that cart all in one go. So instead of having to cut everything in multiple pieces like we had to do beforehand, we're now able to just do all of that at once, which means there's less downtime, and he can teach the students more on how to use the CNC machine. With that, as of right now, it's just me and Sebastian who are learning how to use the CNC machine, but in the future it'll probably be open up to more kids. And with partnerships with the sport boosters, we ended up making those 2 signs, it's instead of having to outsource to a third party to cut the signs and then ship them to the high school to then ship them out to the parents, we're able to do all of that at the high school, which is a lot cheaper. So you want me to talk about the next parts of it?
Yeah, tell us a little more about the signs and kind of the plan for these, maybe.
As of right now, what I believe the plan is that Show is going to keep, or Showalter, as I should probably be calling you now that I think about it.
Mr. Showalter. Yes,
Mr. Showalter.
Mr. Showalter.
Yes, incredibly formal. His class is so serious. But no, in all seriousness, we have a lot of fun in his class while also keeping everything really safe. But yeah, as of right now, I believe Showalter's tentative plan for the signs is that he produces them for the boosters, and as people buy them, he produces more, and it hopefully cuts down costs of having to, as I said earlier, get the third party to cut, ship, and get everything here. So do you know how much you've saved just by cutting it ourselves?
About per sign, we're saving about like
About $20 per sign. You got to be on the mic so we can have you on TV, Mr. Showalter.
Yeah, so for the sports booster signs, by producing them in-house with the students' support for sports boosters, they're about $20 less than they were previously for the sports boosters to produce. Not only that, but the labor that it takes to produce them is significantly decreased as well. We're not hand painting them anymore. The machine cuts them. There's a little bit of finished work at the end of the day. But yeah, we're going to start producing those next week because the orders did come in, and it's all set and queued up, ready to go as soon as the materials come in for them. So yeah, so we were able to put the three new units back into the curriculum to fill up that extra 9 weeks of savings due to the efficiency we were able to create. And, you know, a little bit more about the CNC too. So one of the things that I started to see as I entered into teaching woodworking was looking at the job market and myself owning a furniture making business as well. In order to enter a true custom furniture business, like there's an incredible amount of skill that's needed, right? And because of that, the barrier to entry for a lot of folks, full-on custom furniture is difficult to get employees and to source employees. And we're already serving the community in that regard with the table that we make and are able to customize. But I also started to see in conversation with other furniture makers in the industry that there was a high need for CNC operators. And every full-scale furniture company I would visit and talk to, every single one of them has in some capacity utilizing a CNC. And so it became pretty clear that it was simply needed in the curriculum. And we had the time because we made the changes. We just didn't have the machine, and we were able to get that this year. And we do expect to be at full implementation of the machine throughout all of the curriculum levels in woodworking by the end of next school year. By the end of this semester, we'll have our more advanced students utilizing it. By the end of second semester, every student in the program will be utilizing it in Woods 2 and Woods 4. But then we'll go back and implement it in Woods 1 starting next school year. At the end of the day, though, really, we just wanted to come and say thank you for the support, for the things that we're able to do, because the trust and the financial support that you all have given us, without that, like, all of this really wouldn't have happened, right? Like, it took a little bit of vision from Ms. Sims and myself and Mr. Christopher to kind of put in some new things within the curriculum, but if we hit roadblocks along the way, it just wouldn't have happened, right? And we're at the spot where we're at because people saw the vision, they kept listening to the conversation, they were willing to say yes, willing to take the risk. So I just wanted to come up and say thank you for that support, and thanks for letting us be here.
Well, I want to thank you for being there, and I want to say that I still remember my junior high woodshop teacher, a man named Rex Pershing. I'm sure he's gone now. And I remember the project, which was a light. Well, it was shaped like an old-fashioned well with a pump handle, and the chain from the light went to the pump handle, so you work the pump handle to turn the light on and off. And that's about as creative as we got back then. I'm actually going to ask if you'll invite me to your class sometime. I'd like to see that, and I'll bring a gift.
Ooh. Anytime, you're welcome to come on in. Pretty old.
Lamp with a pump handle.
No, I don't.
Yeah, we'll
That's a good suggestion, but it's actually gone.
Yeah. On the one slide, there is a video. On the fourth slide, there is a video of, in that corner, of the CNC operating. It's just running. Is it working?
You know, this might be on me. I'm running this out of a PDF. I don't have the actual PowerPoint, so
It's the
I'll share it with you.
machine operating, actually cutting that table right there.
And the down there on the side is actually the exact path that we used to cut out that table, which me and Sebastian over here, we used a program called VCarve Pro, which Showalter had introduced us to, and the IT department had allowed us to get on our school laptops. And we were able to use it to edit the original document, and we are actually able to reinforce some of the parts of the table that were kind of iffy or broken that we didn't like. So we were able to learn and implement a new thing that the school hasn't used before. So that was pretty neat.
I guess my final question, maybe, I don't know, is the signs, do parents know where to order that if they want them?
Yeah, they sent out a couple of emails
Okay.
the last couple of weeks
Okay.
to order it. They are currently closed. There's the machine
Yeah.
operating. The orders are currently closed.
Got to build that demand.
And I watched this thing and I thought, I bet
There's some other options too. I think if they go in for this program as well. So if we want a directional sign for parking or something for drama because we're doing a play and we need a prop, we can actually make that in-house now. And all the signs you see in our doors that say a door number on them and Braille can all be done as well in this machine for us. So when we bought the machine, it's just not for our students, but actually benefits the entire district.
Something I'd like to add real quick. I did some research about job openings involving CNC operations, and according to the USBLS.gov, there are roughly 354,800 job openings for CNC machine operators in the U.S. as of 2024. And on the robotics team, we have a partner called Smith & Richardson that they are more metalworking and industrial CNCs, and we've had the privilege of going over there and seeing what they do, and the knowledge that we can gain from Showalter working here. And if we can understand and are able to put on our resumes that we have knowledge on how to use CNC machines, or use, operate, and path CNC machines, that is an incredible help for any field that involves operating a CNC machine. So, yeah.
True. Well done. Any other questions?
I just wanted to say this is wonderful. I have a third grader who was eagerly peering into your classroom during before back to school, just waiting to get into your classroom. So you have more kids coming. But I was wondering, do you guys have any overlap with the theater program, or are any of you guys looking for an extracurricular that you want to join the tech department? Because I feel like this, we're heavily involved in the theater in my family, but I think that this is a lot of skills that I think of even my kids as they develop their theater skills would be great to have, like from a tech perspective. Have we thought about like an expansion into curriculum in that way, like maybe a tech specific class?
One of the things that I'm aware of, at least, is some of the kids in the woodworking programs. One of those that I know personally, Matthew Peerless, he is part of the tech group, and he's actually in Woods 1 right now, building his table. He's in the same period as me and Sebastian.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes he actually asks me for advice when it comes to some of the things that they're doing in tech.
Oh yeah, yeah. I could see this being very useful. Like that's a practical real life skill that even like as kids might be looking to get into acting to have as a backup as they're looking for jobs in the future.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great.
Well done, guys. Really.
Oh, Willard had a.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
just want to say this is kind of heart touching in the sense that my father was an industrial arts teacher back in the day, so I still can smell the sawdust. But I see you got a vacuum there, so they didn't have that back in that time. But no, this is very encouraging because I took industrial arts 50-some years ago, and so it's good to know that that still is definitely an art or something that we can value in the 21st century. So I'm really encouraged to see this. Yeah.
Well, if you see Mr. Showalter at school, he's going to be in a hat, and he's going to say it's because of the sawdust. So,
I will also add, you may regret handing this sheet out to me. I think I can keep you guys busy for more than 9 weeks.
We are more than happy to have more things to work on.
All right.
Thank you guys so much.
Yes,
Great job.
Thank you. Yeah. We don't often get gifts from our presenters. Next is Shonette Sims. We'll discuss the Literacy K-5 pilot update. Andy, anything to add?
Yeah, just two things. One, good luck, Mrs. Sims,
Yeah,
following.
Not even
yeah.
close. This will be nothing like that.
No, but we've talked a lot about literacy and our work at the elementary level, and I know Shaunette's here to just give a little update on where we're at the start of the year with our literacy pilot.
Absolutely. I will share. I'm normally. I would like to remember that differently than you're going to make that same old table, but perhaps that is how it was said. But anyway, yeah, I do appreciate them being here, and absolutely, that does make Geneva High School special. So I'm glad that we. Oops, I think I attached to the incorrect thing. Oh, you know what I think the problem might be?
I think Sebastian and I were talking about this before the start of the meeting.
No, I
Are
have a
you
feeling that.
There you go.
Yep, I just got to duplicate. I was afraid I was still connected upstairs, which would not be good. All right. So thank you for the opportunity. As Andy shared briefly, this is just kind of the midpoint of our first pilot of the 2 that we're going to participate in this year. So this first one is the Benchmark Advanced. So George and I came kind of probably around late August and shared, the kickoff of that and what that was going to entail. So we are about a week from the midpoint. This one, as we shared, will wrap up early November. And our teachers have been engaged not only in the work of instruction, but also with a significant amount of PD as it relates to this pilot. So as you'll recall, we did a partial introduction unit, and the reason we have to do that introductory unit, we have to do that for both of the curriculum that we're piloting, is because that is like the language of instruction for that curriculum. So we can't just jump in because the things the teachers are saying and the routines that they're trying to put in place won't make sense. So we, did a truncated portion of that for a few days. They then are going to do 3 units of instruction. This particular curriculum has 33 units of instruction. They're going to do 3 of them in the pilot. This, you'll recall, is the whole class instruction, all the students with grade level text, grade level expectations, and grade level standards. This is about 20 minutes for that part. This also includes all of those language comprehension structures, so all of those components of, the text complexity, text structure, writing is included in this as well. So it's all of that piece, all that whole class, whole group instruction. And then the professional development, which is a critical piece of this for our teachers who are in the pilot program. But what it's also doing, which we're appreciating, is it's giving us a glimpse of what full-scale professional development could look like and what we would like it to look like. Ideally, we'd like it to look small group, very targeted to a particular grade level, and very direct and in short incremental chunks of time. So we're hoping that we can, make that happen. To date, we have every other week they do a check-in with the classroom representatives, and I give them information about the program, and they also are collecting questions that they are responding to during those times. They have done model lessons whereby their educational professionals have come in and taught in a classroom with our students, with our classroom teachers that are piloting there to watch them model, and then also to answer questions at the end, which has been kind of fun because then we kind of get to step in a little bit to the classroom ourselves and feel out what's happening while they're getting their questions answered. They also have done some just on-demand questions and meetings that have come up. So, for example, last week we had one just particularly on specifically on writing, as that was just rolling out in that first unit, and our piloting teachers had a significant number of questions. So we've appreciated that immediate feedback, which again, we would expect that given the contribution that we'll be making here soon when the decision is made. I wanted to share a little bit about how we talked about how all of the curricula that we've looked at, even the ones that we looked at before selecting the 2 that we're piloting, how these are all knowledge building, spiraling curriculum, meaning the content and the concepts are the same through the grades, they just grow in complexity and sophistication. So for example, the first unit is on like what things need to live. And so at the kindergarten, it's basically what are the basic things that plants need to live? What are the basic things that pets need to live? And it goes all the way through. We are obviously stopping in the 5th grade. And it gets into like, more complex organisms and what they need to live. So not only is it in that, non-fictional text, but there's also fiction texts that are embedded into all those units as well. So they've got that story aspect along with the facts and information, which is critical not only for building that background knowledge, but also just the joy of reading text, a story. So that's that first unit that they're wrapping up. The next unit is all about character and how the importance of character and the role character plays in written work. So again, you'll see kindergarten through 5th grade. It's that same theme of character, and again, the skills they'll work on will be the same. They'll just grow in sophistication as they go through the units. The third unit in this curriculum that they'll pilot is all about government. So again, we'll have that, that real text of, what is your local, state, and federal government. They'll learn about that both in fiction and nonfiction text, and then there'll be set skills that they'll work on throughout. Writing, as you'll recall, for those that are piloting, the 12 classrooms, actually 13 classrooms are bilingual direct instruction classroom is also piloting this curriculum, are using the writing from this. The difference is in how it is structured. As you'll recall, we adopted 10, 11 years ago a writing program that of late is no longer in favor, nor is really the instructional methodology aligned with the science of not only like reading but writing as well. So it's still the 3 types of writing that students are expected to be able to produce, but it's how that is structured in their actual output. So every lesson starts with engaging thinking, and sometimes that's the most challenging thing for students to come up with, especially in those earlier grades, like that topic. What am I going to write about? And how do I move? Oh, did I move from the micro? Sorry. And we're not going to write about robots again. We're going to write about another topic. And so with this knowledge building background building content, that hopefully is also giving them a broader toolbox from which to pull ideas from. They then respond orally first, and this is all the way through 5th grade. So they think of the idea and they start talking out what they're going to write about and what evidence are they going to pull from the text they've been reading, and why is that the particular evidence they're going to choose, and then depending on the type of writing, does that evidence fit with that type of writing, and does it fit the audience that you're producing that for? Then they do modeled shared writing, so that might be where the teacher is modeling and sharing. It may be that they're writing something and sharing it with a peer. They then routinely write, so it's not just an event. Writing is no longer just an event. You produce this one piece that is a narrative piece, now you're done with that for the year. Now you're going to produce this other argumentative piece, you're done with that for the year. They will write continuously throughout the year on new pieces. A big difference between the Lucy Calkins curriculum and this is when you get into that grammar, not only is it embedded in the work, but it's also explicitly taught. In that curriculum that we will be sunsetting upon adoption, it's to be just kind of discovered as you're grading their writing, and for each individual student you're responding. Well, that's not realistic for a classroom teacher to be able to respond individually to the 24 writers in their classroom with each thing that they're producing. So we're looking forward as they begin this week for just their feedback and questions they have about how this is going in the pilot. As you'll recall, we're not asking at this point, what do you like, what do you not like? It's just the experience of what it's like from teaching and how the students are picking up on the things they're to be learning. Another piece that we are not yet, have not yet unpacked all the way are the assessments that come in with the curricula that we're looking at. This again will be new. Currently what we have is we rely mostly on our benchmark and our state assessments. This will actually give us really some curriculum-based measures and assessments to look on. So there will be some interim skill development assessments that are given 3 times a year, and those are just really those finite, unique skills. They're going to be, learned across the curriculum throughout the year, but it's just have they learned those, and are they applying them from unit to unit? Skills and strategies, those are given weekly. Those are, think of as like a quiz. Just, are we ready to move on? And then end of unit assessments, we will have to look at those. I know the feedback from the impromptu meeting was those are lengthy. There was one that was like 17 pages. So that would take a significant amount of time to administer and for students to take. So we will be looking at those. So, and I probably have some, we don't have pilot teachers, but I know that they probably talked to their colleagues that have maybe looked at those. So we did have a conversation with our rep about that, and they do have alternate versions that they're going to share with us. That is kind of the highlight. Again, this one's going to go through, well, we should wrap this one up by the end of, or early November, sorry. If you'll recall, what stayed the same for all of our students, those interactive read-alouds and those practices, that's still the same for all of our students. For our students in K3, the first part of 3rd grade, that really great reading and the phonics program is the same. For all of our students, that did not change, and we explained the rationale for that is because students would have to learn 3 different phonics programs and those structures and routines and the language of that curriculum, and we felt that would set them up for an unfair advantage. And then also the 3rd through 5th grade, the word study, word wisdom program. So those things are the same for all of our students. They're not changing with either program that we pilot this year. Any questions about where we're at thus far with Benchmark Advance?
So I'll just make sure I get my head wrapped around it very well. So this is all programmed, prescribed readings, I take it,
Correct.
right? So how does this kind of program, even though it's programmed, how does this integrate with the libraries and the schools? Do they get to read anything in those books? Because see, we were talking about character. I don't know, I just had a thought from library science years ago. So a book like Profiles in Courage by John Kennedy, which talks about character. So they would not have access to any of those kind of readings. It'll all be within your program structure. This
During the literacy block, yeah, it would be within the curriculum that
Yeah.
was purchased. But I mean, that's something that when they go to the library weekly, or if they checked out on their own, that they could. And I don't want to speak for a member of our audience, but I would assume that if a teacher also said, hey, the unit that we're going to be working on for the next 3 weeks is character, that they wouldn't pull together resources that they have related to that, they could either share when they come to the library or share if they had time in the classroom.
Yeah, I was just wondering whether or not they would have, I think you answered the question, whether or not they would have either encouragement or some thought that there were other resources outside their program that were related to character, for example.
The programs do have like suggested book lists for
yeah.
like extra reading that those could be shared. But in terms of actually working those into the curriculum, there probably would not be time to do so.
Okay. So one other question, just make sure I understand it correctly. I mean, I think it's great what I'm seeing, and that I think that's, especially the writing part. So when I look at what you were saying about opinion and argument, would that still be in the same genre as persuasive writing, or am I making that
Correct.
too synonymous?
Yep, correct. That would
Okay.
be.
Okay. That's good. That's a very good thing. Yeah. Advocacy. Thank you.
So you've given an update as to where you are, but you really haven't spoken to how do you feel about this program yet? Is it too early? Is it something that's meeting your expectation? Is it clunky? Is it something that you're saying, or this is the best thing since sliced bread? Can you give us a better feel, or is it just too early for that now?
We're not asking that specifically. Is it clunky? Yes, because it's new and it's a lot. There are a lot of resources, a lot of information. The pace is very fast. The instructional methodologies are different than what we're used to. The idea that this is a little more boxed than what we're used to in Geneva, that's also an adjustment. I mean, we just had a meeting on Monday, and we gave time for our committee members to work with the grade level pilot teacher on just lesson planning. And I will share, just walking through the room, there weren't like large outcries of I don't like this, but there were definitely statements of this is a lot. I've adjusted as the weeks have gone on. At first I wasn't sure, but yeah, it'll be a big lift in whatever we decide. But again, we're trying not to do you like it, not like it yet, because we want to give a fair shake to the next one too.
So I love where we're at right now and the feedback. Like, thank you so much for bringing this to us so we can stay up to date as we're moving through the process. Do we think that there might be a time where it's appropriate that the committee comes and shares some feedback with us, kind of like to Paul's point, to say, this is what we like about it, or this is what we think the challenges are, just so we're all aware and making sure, because I'm sure with any program we choose, there's going to be some challenges.
Yeah, the conversation we've had is maybe once the program is selected, they would come for, a couple members would come and share why, like the collective consensus was what it was.
Okay, yeah, so like right before we would vote on like adopting that program. Okay, that sounds great. Also, do we think, other than the teacher feedback, do we think we're going to have any like quantitative data that we can look and say like this probably helped our students perform better?
We'll see what we get from the assessments once we give those.
Okay.
But again, we just started looking at those last week, and the one.
Yeah, so probably too early to say what that would look
I mean, they're
like.
not ready to administer them yet, but the one, I mean, it was a second grade assessment that was 17 pages, and so we would want to look at that one.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate the update.
Absolutely.
I think we all appreciate the update on this very important subject.
Okay, thank you.
So the next item on our agenda is public comments. Have we had any requests for public comment? Anybody like to say anything? All right, legislative updates.
I have no formal report tonight, not much going on. I did want to highlight at our next meeting in October, I'll just introduce the one IASB resolution that we have, and it looks like on our schedule we will go into a full discussion on that one at our second meeting in October. That'll get us ready for the delegate assembly in November, so we'll be ready to vote on that. I also thought, depending on how much time we have, the Illinois General Assembly did update their website, and I thought I would do a quick demonstration again of how you can look up who your elected official is and how you can contact them if you wanted to talk to them about any specific topics that you were interested in. So again, if there's time, I'll go ahead and do that. Maybe take 5 minutes of our time to show the updated website. And that's my report.
Thank you very much, Jackie. Well, after the legislative updates, looks like there's a superintendent's report.
Yeah, thanks. Just a few things to share with everybody tonight. Thanks for the opportunity. So first, on our agenda every month is, upcoming presentations are listed there, but I just kind of wanted to give a highlight for, look at us from the new cool cameras, huh? So I just wanted to give kind of a update, kind of foreshadow or lay some breadcrumbs on some of the kind of important information that we're going to try to build into each of our meetings throughout the year. So first is I'm going to try to do, we've already done it a couple, hopefully you've noticed, and I'm going to try to do this in my presentations throughout the year, is a little quick facts section where we talk about so far I've highlighted some of our awesome technology folks or our transportation team, and just do some little quick facts highlighting some different areas and some different things that are going on in the district that I think are important to acknowledge and recognize. So we'll do that. And then in addition, there's kind of 4 big things that I think we'll be seeing coming back across the year. One, obviously, we have our staple of consistent annual presentations, whether that's, a lot of Todd's financial presentations, stuff that Adam will share from, regular HR stuff. Mr. Baker will come and do his annual safety and security update, all those kinds of things. Mike Wilkes and his tech plan. So we'll have all those. In addition, obviously, throughout the year, we're going to have different moments. Sometimes I'll include in my report, and sometimes there'll be standalone presentations just on updates on what's going on with our strategic plan and some of the work that we've been working on in those 4 key areas. And then 2 other that I think will be probably the most enjoyable for the board, probably in the community. Obviously, one, we're going to continue doing the What Makes Our School Special like we did last year and like we saw tonight, something cool that makes Geneva High School special. We're going to keep having different presentations like that and expand on what we did last year, right? So it's not just going to be the same old stuff, but new, cool, special things. And then Mrs. Sims had the great idea, who she loves herself in alliteration, content curious presentations. So we think over the course of the year we're going to have a few presentations and just kind of pick a particular content area and have the staff come in from that content area across the different grades and talk through with you what it looks like in that content area, right? So what are we actually doing, and what are the awesome things that our teachers are doing in this particular content area at primary grades and intermediate grades and middle and high school. So we think that will be a cool opportunity for the board and the community. So just wanted to foreshadow some of that. So the fun facts today that I wanted to share, and share some facts and thank yous about our instructional support staff. You know, we have a lot of really awesome people who are just coming in day by day, working closely to support kids and support our teachers. So I want to share some facts with you about those folks. We have a total of 164 instructional support staff team members. So that's support staff. Some districts call them paraprofessionals, and these are people's who specifically, we're calling them instructional support staff because we have a wide variety of support staff roles, but these are the folks who work in classrooms or with kids, right? So 164, that's a lot of people, and they do all sorts of things. Obviously, we have them all the way from pre-K and GELP all the way up to 12th grade. Obviously, they do a lot of helping directly in the classroom, helping teachers help kids learn. Folks in these roles do a lot of intervention to support students, and help intervene when a student might need help in something academic. They provide a lot of support inside our classrooms, day in and day out. We have a lot of these folks who support our youngest learners at GELP and kindergarten, like that. We obviously have some instructional support staff who support our English learners here in the district. And I'd say probably the largest percentage, does that sound right, Adam? Probably the largest percentage is the great folks who are helping our students who have some special and unique needs. These are folks who are really touching lives and making a difference in the lives of kids and in our classrooms. And so just want to say thank you to them and acknowledge that important work that happens here in our district. Just some quick tidbits. You'll hear more about this as the year goes on, obviously, but you'll recall that we're transitioning in our student information system. This is the transition year, and we'll be going live next year. So right now, even though it's only September, a lot of work is underway behind the scenes to get us ready for this transition. And the technology team is focused on system migration. To think about, we have to take all of that information that is in our current eSchool student information system and get all of that prepared to come out and then go correctly and appropriately into the new system. So our tech team has all sorts of benchmarks and targets that they're working on to get that data cleaned and out and migrated. We're already starting in earnest to do planning for the training and professional development that's going to need to happen, because this is going to be a new system for everyone to use, right? I'm mentioning this today, again, to lay a few breadcrumbs, because this transition is going to impact some of our historical practices and timelines, especially as it's related to student scheduling and registration and some things like that, because we're going to have this system fully migrated or fully prepared to be migrated, and then we're going to have to, on day one, flip the switch and be living in the new system. So some of those timelines that we might have had for, student course selection or things like that, or asking families to complete verification or enrollment or registration, some of those timelines are going to need to look different because of this process. And we'll be communicating a lot about that, but we thought it was important to acknowledge that now in September and start making sure people are aware, because some of those things are going to have to look a little different this year. Also just wanted to touch base real briefly on one of the areas in our strategic plan, that enrollment and staffing work, and specifically talk about at the middle school level. We talked about this a little bit at a recent meeting. So, I shared that I'd come back and bring a little update, and then if, there's more down the road to share, we can do that as well. You'll recall that when Mr. Carley and Mr. Blue and I shared, this long plan that we'd been working through together to, slowly start right-sizing that staffing at the middle school, as staff, retire or leave, and we can make that transition over time. So that has continued. It's working well so far for the start of this school year. You'll remember that when this school year started, for our 6th graders, they have no formal teams designation. And you'll remember we talked about this a lot last year. Now, that being said, the students and parents really aren't feeling much of a difference. Some of our teachers are certainly feeling a difference because they are maybe having to teach a different content area or move to teach at a different grade level for a class or something like that. But by and large, the report that we get is kids really aren't feeling that much of a difference than the experience they had historically. That's a good thing, because we want our kids to be having that positive experience. Theoretically, then next year there will be no formal team designation for all 3 of the grades at the middle schools. But that being said, we kind of anticipate that same feeling, right? Like, it shouldn't feel that much different for our students. It's our staff, as we continue to do that right sizing, who are making adjustments, and we're grateful for that. Also, a little foreshadowing, we've talked about this briefly before, but part of the long-term transition in this process is that for next year we would make a formal transition to semesters at the middle school. We currently have trimesters at the middle school, and that has to do with a lot of things, but mostly, and we'll share more details about this down the road, but what it mostly has to do is, as we continue to right size that staffing, then it'll need to change the model of our exploratory and electives and how those courses all fit in, and that will all work much better with our staffing structure in a semester model. So that'll theoretically be coming for next year, although again, it really won't change opportunities and experiences for kids that much. So more work's coming on that, and we'll keep you posted. And then last, it's homecoming week. So lots and lots and lots going on at Geneva High School. The theme is Rio, which we were talking beforehand. Makes me think of Barry Manilow and Duran Duran, but I don't think that's what the kids these days are thinking about when they think about Rio. So what are you going to do?
Who's that? Right?
Yeah, but Copacabana, what can you say? But I think there's some cartoon bird from...
I was going to say, I think that the kids are all thinking about the movie,
yes,
the animated movie.
Yes, the animated movie, not Barry Manilow or Duran Duran. But, what can you say? But there's lots of fun stuff happening already. Yesterday was great with Paint the Town and the 150th anniversary of Geneva High School event that I know some of us attended. And stuff every night this week with Blue and White Night and the new flag football team on Thursday, homecoming game Friday, and the homecoming dance Saturday. So lots of great things going on. Obviously, the parade will be later this week, too. So that's all I have.
Well, thank you very much. I'm afraid these days with the progress and change that takes place in classrooms that we get a pretty continuous series of dated cultural references that don't actually work like we'd like them to. Having said that, it's good to see the change and improvement, and I think I might want to go with Ms. Sims to a few reading classes just to see how that's working out. Thank you. Gives me something to do. So, board dialogue topics and pending action considerations, no items at this time. 8, work study topics and future action consideration. The hearing officer proposal is next.
Yeah, so I did, we've spoken a lot about this over the last several meetings, I think starting in the summer and coming into this year. I've included for you, I said I'd gather some information and looked for a variety, kind of considered a variety of options, came across an individual, comes highly recommended, has done this in a lot of districts, and I've included Dr. Raymer's proposal here for the board to review and consider. It's on here just tonight for, basically potential future action, but no action tonight. So it's kind of a last opportunity for some discussion and then some direction to me on if this should come back for a formal vote. It could, come back as a specific action item. It could come back as a consent agenda item. And I know one of the things the board wanted us to consider was maybe, talking about this subject a little bit at the policy committee meeting. So that's something we could do too. But here's the proposal, and I'm happy to answer any questions or kind of take some feedback in terms of what you think next steps should be.
Questions, anyone?
The only question I have is, and I agree with the policy. I think it's definitely something we should revisit or visit. Does the this individual only service student disciplinary, or will they help us with other things?
Yes, this would just be, he would basically be, if the board ultimately approved this, he'd basically be on call as someone we could contact for those student disciplinary hearings in those very rare instances. It would not be for any other things. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would just recommend that and encourage that we bring this to the policy committee, and we talked about making sure the parents have that final opportunity and see how we can work that into the system.
Yep.
Yeah, as I thought that was a good suggestion by Paul, and that as I thought about that more, I think it's important that even on this board, some of us as parents said we would choose different things. Some would say we would prefer a hearing officer. Some said we'd prefer the board. So it feels nice to have that option if we changed the policy, that there was that opportunity, but there's still that non-biased hearing officer as well. So I support bringing it for a vote if that's our next step, with an amendment, if we have to add an amendment to adjust the policy through the policy committee.
So I think one thing we could do is vote on it and have the shared understanding that, it's then in place, but, ultimately I'm the one who would have to call the person to implement it if we needed it. And, so we could just hold off and not do a vote on it at all, or we could vote on it. We then have him in place, but I would just acknowledge we're not going to access his services until we've discussed it first and kind of had it go through the policy committee and changed the policy in any ways that we thought needed to be changed. So we could do it either of those ways.
So change the policy first, and then would we still need to vote on it, that you would eventually call him, or each time you can kind of decide?
Yeah, well, I think it would all depend on how the policy committee wanted to ultimately,
Yeah, and of course.
like what language we ultimately wanted to put in the policy. So given that, maybe it's just a matter of, we've seen it, you've seen it, let's take it to policy and let
That's
policy wordsmith some things. And then once policy has wordsmithed it, theoretically, when that policy comes back changed, you could bring this back as well and could vote on them all together.
That sounds like a better.
So what's the time frame for that process?
I think we could add it as soon as the next policy committee meeting and talk about it. And then remember, I think the time frame would be a little while, because we'd have to talk about it at one policy committee meeting, come back to the next one with potential language, and then remember those then need to get moved forward to the full board through a couple meetings. So a couple months probably, just because of our meeting structure and timeline. But again, this is a very rare circumstance. And I think to get it right, that would be totally fine.
So there's no need for a stopgap measure in terms something comes up. I'm just asking.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, we have a practice in place that we know has worked and the board has handled very well. So, seems to me status quo. Again, should that rare circumstance come up, we can do that. And with a couple months here, we could get to a good place, I think. Does that sound right to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Andy. I would say I'm fully in agreement with that, and of course the board will vote on any policy changes that occur. And a steady, slow approach to this, actually significant change for a few individuals will be, I think, our best path. So thank you all for that. Okay. Information, board meeting presentation schedule, FOIA requests, board correspondence. There isn't anything there, and discussion not required, but if anybody has any questions. Next, my favorite, the consent agenda. Personnel report, resignations, retirements, leave requests, changes in assignment, full-time equivalent, new hires. Item 2, monthly financials, July and August. Item 3, EIS teacher and administrator annual report. Item 4, gifts, grants, and bequests, $1,500 from Border Heating and Air Conditioning for GHS athletic supplies, uniforms, and other needs. And unless we had a change, I believe that completes the consent agenda. And so discussion and a vote. Anything?
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second. Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Next, board member comments and reports. I think we'll start with Stephanie this time.
Sure. So I was able to attend the Geneva Music Booster meeting recently. So they have a lot going on with the start of the school year. Just a reminder, the Geneva Music Boosters not only supports our music programs at the high school and middle school with having orchestra, band, choir, all of those programs, but they do support all of our music programs throughout all elementary classes as well. So when you're supporting Music Boosters, you're really supporting all of our students. So they recently finished up their mum sale fundraiser, and now they're gearing up for their greenery sale. I know it seems fast, but the holidays are right around the corner, so look out for that. And then they also have a spirit wear sale coming up, in addition to just all the other work that they're working on with marching band starting, and all the first concerts will be happening in about the next month or so. So look for all of that. I also was able to attend the theater booster meeting, and I won't share everything because Paul was also there, but they are having a spirit wear for the first time, right? A spirit wear sale for the first time right now. So if you're looking for some theater spirit wear, you can get that through the theater boosters. They also have a fundraiser for checkbooks, which are kind of like little gift certificates for local Geneva spots. I know some of the students may have hit up some of the administrators during back to school night. So
I have to say, it is one of the best. Like you get your money's worth out of that baby if you use it, for sure. I'm giving them props on that. That I used one on Saturday. It's great, yeah.
So you can contact the theater boosters, or Paul has sold several of them for them, so you can contact Paul too. And then they have a couple of shows coming up as well, but I'll save that for Paul because I think he has that. And then just thank you for such a wonderful meeting tonight. I think we hit a lot of great topics, great information shared. Love to hear about what's going on at the high school. Thank you to all of our instructional assistants. They truly do valuable work in our schools and really make an impact, not just on the students that they're helping, but the whole classes. And then thanks to our tech department. I think this is such a big job, and we won't see it for a while, but it's going to make a big impact for parents, students, everybody. So thanks, everybody.
Yeah, I just want to circle back regarding the technology with the woodwork. I'm still getting my head wrapped around how things have changed in 50 years, but that's good. Do they still do wood burning? Back in the day they did that.
We have a laser
That does, see, there you go. See how things have changed?
They have a laser. They have
Yeah.
a laser.
A laser, no wood burning like they used to. So, no, it was just really good to hear how things have just evolved over the years and how things are, as the young men say, easier now. So this is really great to know. What's old is new, though. This is good. Thank you very much.
Jackie?
First, I want to thank Ben and Sebastian for coming tonight and sharing your experience. It means a lot to us to hear it right from the students who are doing it. Mr. Showalter, thank you as well for doing this and coming. Yeah, clearly your students admire you and you're doing a great job. And it was interesting to learn that and to bring the table to see how that new CNC machine, which I did look up what that acronym is, now I know, how you use that to make that machine. And then thank you for the little gifts that you gave us. Those are very nice. And Ms. Sims, thank you for your presentation tonight, giving us an update. I was able to attend the football game, the first home game, and that was an exciting one. Also, it was 8th grade band night, so the 8th graders got to come out during the halftime show and perform with the band, which I think is a special experience for them, so they get to see what it's like to be at high school in the marching band and participate in that. I also was able to attend the 150-year celebration at GHS yesterday, and I wanted to share a few fun facts that I learned. There was no orchestra at the high school between 1944 and 2006. Let that sink in for a minute. That, I was surprised. So yeah, it was only in 2006 that the orchestra came back to the high school and we had that offered. So the first graduating class at the high school had 2 members. And if I remember correctly, it was almost 17 years after it opened. It was a long time because we weren't able to get all the credits necessary to actually graduate. They had, I can't remember what year it was, so I'm going to say it was probably in the early 1900s, some classes that you could choose to take at the high school. Sophomore year, you could take English, plain geometry, zoology, and this was my favorite, Caesar and prose. That was a class that you could take. Pretty cool stuff. So thanks to the Geneva History Museum, they did participate in putting that timeline together. It was up on the wall in the high school, but I asked, and they are going to have a version of it posted up to the Geneva High School website and also the History Museum website. It really was a great history of Geneva itself and the high school. I learned a lot, and the number of mayors that have graduated from Geneva High School. It's not just Mayor Burns. There are others who also graduated, so really cool event yesterday, and I learned a lot, so I wanted to give them a quick shout out. And that's it.
Thanks, Jackie. Dan?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, not just to echo what everyone else said about tonight's meeting and the presentations. Thank you very much. The only thing I'll add is looking forward to homecoming week, so hopefully everyone has a safe but fun weekend and week.
Paul?
Yeah, again, I'd like to thank our folks, the students that came out tonight. I think it was fantastic. You did a great job, by the way. Your presentations were fantastic. Stephanie, I'm going to need your help because I forgot my calendar. But we have coming up the one-act play is going to be, can you help me on that one?
That's October 2nd and 5th.
Yes, so that will be at the high school. That's for the underclassmen.
The underclassmen.
Yes.
This
And
is a test. That's what the play is called, right? This is a test.
Yes. Yes. And then the 2 big performances are going to be Romeo and Juliet in the winter and Chicago for the spring musical. So I think that's going to be kind of exciting. So, again, Andy is right. The Theater Booster checkbooks are some of the best things that you can buy. If it costs you $25, and if you use more than 2, you've made your money back at all the restaurants in Geneva. So if you're interested, contact the Theater Boosters or contact me, and I'll see if I can get some more. Thanks.
Okay, that leaves me, and I will say first of all that I was able to attend the 150-year high school open house. It was wonderful. I met a number of people there and saw some old friends as well. The timeline is really worth looking at. The people did a terrific job. I also want to congratulate the artists who did the downtown windows in homecoming honor. they're looking good, as pretty much always, but it's an exciting thing to see. And Paul, I will commit to buy one of those books from you tomorrow morning if you can get it.
Yeah, I'll have it.
Okay. We ride cycles together, so that'll work out. All in all, things are going very well. I'm very pleased to see the great progress, both academically and otherwise in the school. I think a lot of people's hard work shows up very well. And second, what really everybody has reported. Last item 12, notices and announcements. There aren't any at this point. And we have need now to go into executive session, which means you can leave. I'm gonna, pardon me? I'm gonna read this and then we'll have to vote on it, but other than that. Executive session to consider matters pertaining to collective negotiations, matters between the public body and employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning the salary schedules of one or more of their employees. And thank you, Bonnie, for editing that. I've been wanting that to happen a long time, and you've come around to my way of thinking. I appreciate it. So we need to go into executive session. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
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 Aye. We'll have a few minute recess just while we get things configured, and then we'll start executive session.